What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. So as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about the Nike Free X Metcon 3. So now, if you are at all familiar with my relationship with this line of shoes, you will know that the very first iteration of this shoe was probably my favorite shoe of 2018. I like the fact that it came out, no one really knew anything about it, and it completely, like, for me, changed training shoes, and I loved that shoe. That's probably the shoe I've done more workouts in than pretty much any other shoe because I get so many shoes that I end up not using them that much. But those shoes I used a ton. And then the second pair came out last year. I was super excited. The Nike Free X Metcon 2s came out. I was like, okay, these are just gonna be a better version. Now, at first I thought that that's what they were. I used them for a few weeks and they were just not the case for me. They did not work well for me. They were just too tight. They actually ended up causing me to have some bruising in my foot. So I actually returned those shoes, which I almost never return shoes. I'll usually just give them away to someone if I don't like them. But I was just so like, I don't want people to have this shoe. This isn't a good shoe. So I literally returned that shoe. So with the third one coming out, I was excited but also skeptical, so let's get into it. Now, before we go any further, I want to make it very clear this is a first impressions video. I don't even really feel comfortable doing a full review right now because I can't go to the gym. So all of these impressions are coming from home workouts that I've been able to do here with dumbbells, kettlebells, running, wall balls, nothing super crazy. So I haven't been able to lift super heavy. So this is just going to be my thoughts, my first impressions. That's pretty much all that I can do right now because I can't get to a gym and load a heavy barbell and really see how these perform in that capacity. So let's talk first about the outsole of the shoe. Now, that's the first thing that people noticed. I mean, this shoe is polarizing for sure. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of how they looked when I ordered them, but I knew that I've done all the reviews on every other iteration of this, and I was hopeful that I would like the shoe. So I was like, I don't really care that much that I don't love how it looks. I am going to order it anyways. So the outsole, as you can see, it looks like it is super high and super thick. Now, the first thing I want to make very clear is that your foot is not sitting where this outsole ends. You're actually way deeper down. Your foot is probably actually like right here. So it's not like you have this huge drop because a lot of people were kind of saying it looks like a running shoe. That's actually what a lot of people said about the first iteration as well. It is not like that. This is a stable shoe, more stable than a running shoe would be. This is a training shoe for sure. So if you're worried about, the outsole being like looking like it's so thick and like, oh, there's no way that would be stable, trust me, it is not how it looks. It feels a lot more stable than the looks maybe make it out to be. Now, with all of the Free X Metcons, obviously it is using the Nike Free material, so that is going to be a lot softer than a regular Metcon. Now, these are actually even a little bit more soft, I've felt, in my opinion, than the other two so far. You can definitely feel it when you're doing like double unders. When you're pretty much doing anything, there's definitely a little bit more give, especially in the forefoot of this shoe. And now that might sound like a negative, but I actually don't mind it. If you're going to be doing some running, some double unders, stuff like that, burpees, things where you're going to be moving your foot a lot, it's actually kind of nice to have a little bit more cushion. So there definitely is a little bit more give there in the midsole. Now, one thing that I did notice that was definitely different is this one actually bends a lot more. So in the first iteration, there was almost like a midfoot shank, it felt like. That probably wasn't what was in there, but there was a lot more harder plastic or harder rubber right here in the middle. So you couldn't do this with the shoe. Now, obviously, with this one, you definitely can. So it is a lot more bendy, for lack of a better term, than the first iteration and the second iteration. And of course, we have to talk about this gigantic heel. It's interesting. It's a design choice for sure. I think that it works really well. I understand, like, this shoe, like I kind of said, is very polarizing. Some people are gonna love how it looks, some people are gonna hate how it looks. I put like a story on my Instagram when I first got these shoes, and I was actually surprised. It seemed like 70% of people were actually really liking the shoe, and then 30% of people were like, I really don't like it. I will say I like how this shoe looks a lot more on foot than I do just by itself. So moving on a little bit more with the outsole, the bottom heel right here has another material that is a little bit of a harder rubber, so it's gonna be, you know, a high contact rubber. And then right in the middle, it kind of almost concaves in, so I don't think that this middle part of the shoe is going to get much ground contact anyways, and so it's just straight up the Nike Free material. There's no extra rubber there. And then as you can see on the forefoot, it has this black extra rubber as well. So it seems like the places where the shoe is going to be touching the ground, it has extra protection. So I mean, I don't know how durable these shoes are gonna be. I will say one thing just right off the bat. Obviously I haven't been able to do a rope climb in these. I would not do rope climbs in these shoes. Like, I've said that about all of the Nike Frees. They are not meant to do rope climbs in. I would not recommend doing rope climbs, especially in these ones. Moving on to the upper. Now the upper is kind of similar to how the previous ones have been, but with a little bit of a difference. So as you can see, it has just the regular mesh, so it's not going to be as durable, I think, as a regular Metcon is going to be. It is a lot more breathable than a normal Metcon would be, or really any other CrossFit shoe. But the one thing that they changed this year that they had kind of kept in the previous two models was that the mesh had almost like a plastic film over it. It's hard to explain unless you've had them. I wish I had them here with me, but they're all at the office, which is at the gym that I can't go to. So this mesh, it doesn't have that on top of it. Now, I don't know if that means it's going to be less durable. Again, I've only had the shoe for a few days. I've done about 6 workouts in it, so that's still to be seen. It seems like it's nice. It seems like it's a thick mesh. It's definitely not like a Flyknit material. It's a very thick mesh in this shoe. And the ankle collar of the shoe, now as you can see, it is a one-piece construction. So the laces for me, because I have a really, I have a high instep is what it's called. So basically, my foot is, it's filling out this whole shoe. Like for me, the laces are pretty much pointless. I've tied them once and I haven't moved it because I have to get my foot in there. So it's a one-piece construction, similar to how it's always been. This is more similar to, I think, the first one than the second one was. But for me, being someone that has a wide foot, high instep, and I have pretty big ankles, I'm able to get my foot in here and it's not super uncomfortable. So I do like that about these shoes. I'm always super weary when it comes to a shoe that has basically the one-piece construction, because the React Metcons, there's so many of them now. So the React Metcons have a one-piece construction as well, and those shoes, I could not even get my foot inside of them. I tried them on in the store, never bought a pair. People have been asking me to review them, but I'm just not gonna review them because I know I'd never wear them, which sucks because I do like how those look. But these, if you do have all of those issues that I have, you should be fine being able to get your foot inside of this shoe. And actually around the ankle collar, it's pretty padded, so it's padded all the way around. There's a good amount of padding in the very back of the ankle collar, but then even around where your kind of the front of your ankle would be, there's actually a good amount of padding that goes pretty much all the way down until, you know, where your toes would be in the shoe. So it's a pretty comfortable shoe. Now let's talk about fit, and I think that that's a very important thing when it comes to training shoes. These are, you know, pretty tight. They're definitely true to size. I wouldn't recommend going up a half size. I remember I did that for one of the pairs of Nike Free Metcon, the first ones. I went up a half size to a 9.5 just to see if I liked those, and I ended up not liking them. I gave them away because they were just a little bit too, there's too much room and my foot was sliding around. So I would say you're gonna feel like your foot is really, it feels tight. It's gonna feel pretty tight if you have like a wide foot like I do. Now if you have a regular size foot, narrow foot, probably won't be an issue. But if you're someone that has a wide foot, you're probably gonna put these on your true to size shoes and you're gonna be like, ooh, these might be a little tight. I would say that's probably the right size, because if you went up a half size, I really do think that once you kind of wear the shoe for a little bit, it's going to stretch out and you're not gonna like that extra room. So I would recommend going true to size in this shoe. Now, performance-wise, you know, how are these shoes performing? Again, this is just a first impression. I haven't been able to do that much stuff in them, but from my first initial few workouts, I do like how they're very light, which is nice. So they feel, once you get them on your foot, you kind of forget that they're there, which is always really nice in a training shoe. The heel being, you know, so massive and just having so much contact area, you definitely feel connected with the ground. And, you know, all in all, I'm really happy with how they are performing. Again, they're still pretty new to me. I do think that I like these more than I like the twos. I'm not sure if I'm going to like these more than I liked the ones. Maybe I'm just nostalgic, but I really, really loved those shoes. Some of my favorite shoes ever. I still would recommend people get those, especially now that the 3s are out. You can probably find the first ones for like dirt cheap, and they're great shoes. But again, I mean, these are coming out $120, so it's a little bit cheaper than, you know, the flagship Metcons, Nanos, things like that. So if you are someone that has ever liked any of the Nike Free X Metcons before, I would say go ahead and get these if you like how they look. If you don't like how they look, I understand. And give them a shot, because I really do think that these might end up being some of my favorite shoes. It's just hard to say right now. There you guys go. I hope that you guys enjoyed the first impressions. I know a lot of you guys have been curious about these shoes. If you guys have any questions, you want to know a little bit more about the shoes, just leave a comment down below. I'm sure I forgot a couple things. Just let me know, what you need to know, and I will try to get to all of you guys as fast as I can. I hope that everyone is staying safe. This is a very crazy time. I didn't really want to talk about it too much. I just want you guys to be able to enjoy a video without hearing about everything else that's going on right now. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Again, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.